Notes.
Hello, guys. Welcome to our leaders meeting for April. I cannot believe that we're already past halfway through the month, which is insane. But today we have a very special guest to come and talk to you today, Lisa Allwood. She is coming to us all the way from the UK. Literally, she could just talk about the color of the sky, and I think all of us in the US would just listen to her because of her accent. But she is going to drop some bombs for us today. Just to give you a little bit of background on her, if you don't know who she is, she's a pretty big dang deal. And not only that, but she is the sweetest person probably in the entire company. Lisa, she has earned every incentive trip since she joined. She has earned annual mentor twice and annual sales 3 times. She says her biggest accomplishment in Cincy was that she was last year's Shining Star for Region 2, which is a huge deal. Congratulations on that. She is a Cincy lifer, a lover of friendship and training, a retired teacher, which I did not know. And her favorite fragrance is kiwi. So today she's going to give us some of her best leadership tips. And we are just here to soak it all in. So I'm going to pass it over to you.
What an introduction. Honestly, thank you so much. And feel free to ask questions and interact, because that is literally my jam. And yeah, so thank you so much. Honestly, I put a bit of thought into this because obviously I love training. This is like my thing. I absolutely love to train my team. I'm probably like a bit of an oversharer. Like, I'm actually known for probably going live far too many times in my team group, but you know, my team are used to it. They know the deal, so they know the drill. So yeah, I'm really excited to come and talk to you guys about leadership. I feel like it's literally something that's really close to my heart. As you said, Whitney, I used to be a teacher. I come from a PE teaching background. I was a teacher for 14 years. So when I started selling Cincy, for me, it was like, can I merge the two? How can I bring my teaching career into my Cincy career? Because every career that you do, right, brings some kind of like skill that you can transfer into this business. And I say this to my team all the time. I'm like, well, what do you do? And like, how can you transfer that skill into what we do right now? And that was my thing. I was like, I didn't want to give up teaching. I actually listened to Chastity's World Tour training, and she was talking about not wanting to give up teaching, and I was like, I feel you. Like, I didn't want to give up teaching for a really long time, and it was only as things sort of grew and things changed within the teaching profession, like during lockdown, that I made that decision that I wanted to actually retire and give up teaching. And then, if you like, fell into this training leadership type role where I could really get stuck in and deliver the leadership stuff. So I have put together some like tips for you that are like my top tips for when you recruit a team, whether you've got a team of 1 and you know you're a lead consultant, or whether you've got a team of 300 or 3,000 or 10,000. Hopefully these things might help you. Now, and I did this without even realizing. I started to write some tips down, and I realized they were making, like, it's called an acronym, right? Where the words have all got, I think it's an acronym where the words have all got a meaning, yeah, and they all go together. But anyway, so I'm going to give you a little bit of an acronym with some ideas that go with each of them, and then I've just got a couple of tips with the hows at the end. And I'll try not to talk too long because I do talk a lot, but you know, such is life. So my little acronym for you when it comes to leadership is the word believer. Believer. It's got to have the R on the end. I think I put the R on the end. Maybe I put the E on the end. Believe or believer. And this will all make sense. It's all going to come to light at the end. Okay, so write that down. Write down the word believer or believe. And I'm going to talk you through like what each of the letters stand for in terms of your Cincy business. And every time you think about leadership and you think, am I doing this right? Am I leading correctly? Am I overthinking this? You can come back to these like pointers if you like. You can come back to the believe and see whether it works with you. So B stands for finding balance. Okay, your business, the first thing you've got to do as a leader, we wear so many hats, right? We are the teacher, we're the mentor, the carer, the friend, we're the the knowledge giver, we're there's so many different hats that we wear when you've got a team member or a big team. It's hard, and it's hard to find that balance. And I know so many of us struggle with finding that balance. Like I definitely did for a really long time, and I still actually probably struggle now, and I've got more time than I ever had. So I didn't give up teaching until I was a star consultant. And I had quite a big team by the time. I think my team had reached about, I don't even know, it was over 100 people. And I remember thinking, like, how am I ever going to juggle this with my teaching career? And I went through like, and trust me, I have tried so many different systems, so many different things where I'm like, this might work, this might not work. Let's try all these different things. And balance is really, really key. Now, I'm not just talking about like making it all balance in terms of, you know, like my time management skills appalling, my organization appalling. I always look back and think, how was I a teacher? But it was because I was a good teacher, right? I was good at that bit. I was rubbish at all the paperwork. That's why I ended up having to leave, really. No, honestly, joking. But your business has got to come first, and that's where the balance has got to start. So no matter what, my goal is always, as a leader, to have my 500 PRV on the first of the month. No matter what, that is my goal. And that wasn't always my goal. When I was a lead consultant, it definitely wasn't my goal. My goal was just to get my 500 by the end of the month. That was the goal. And as my career has progressed, and as I moved up the compensation plan, my goals become bigger. And that is always a goal that I set myself. And if I don't have my 500 on the first or the second, I get a little bit twitchy. And there's some reasons behind that. One is because if I've got my 500 on the first, I can share with my team how I did it, why it's important. Sorry, that's my ring doorbell. It will stop in a minute. My husband's just pulling up on the driveway. I get my 500, and I can literally share how I did that with my team. What was it that I did? You know, was it that I did my VIP boxes? I do them every single month. And normally I advertise them at the very end of the month. So I've got that order ready to go in on the first, from the first of the month. I also do a scent of the month club, where I sell the scent of the month bars, and I sample and sell some of the pre bars that we get the month before. And then on the first, that's when I go hell for leather, and I'm like, let's sell as many as I can for the first, so that I've got that nice chunky order to go in right on the first of the month. I like to at least be active, but ideally I have my 500 on the first. And I know that's not ideal for everybody, but it also then allows me to know I've got my 500. Now I can work with my team. Now, if I get more PRV than that, obviously that's going to be the 2000 is always the goal. But I now know, no matter what, I can work with my team. It takes the pressure off me. It really takes the pressure off me. So for me as a leader, that balance of getting that 500 as early on as possible is really, really important, because then it frees up more time for me to be able to do other things. Now, for me, 2,500 is a non-negotiable. Like, it is a non-negotiable, because I want annual sales every single year. The first year that I got that, I had to work my socks off in the month before it finished, and I don't know, it was like 4,500 PRV or something. I left it really late, and I said to myself, I'm never doing that again. So after that year, when I first got it, I said, I want the 225 every month, no matter what. And that goal has grown, and my PRV has grown every month. Like, it's now much higher than that. It's double that most months, to be fair. So I keep looking down, by the way. I've got like a ton of notes. So I also then, in terms of sponsoring, once I've got my 500, the balance then allows me to go out to find new teamies and to help the teamies that I've then got. And that's a massive thing for me. How do I do it? I time block. I'm not very good at it. And I will completely be honest with you. My systems are not great, but I am gradually finding that balance. And that is really, really key. Okay, E. The E stands for excitement and energy. And I actually had a conversation today, which was it literally was a light bulb moment for me. I had a massive aha moment today. So as a leader, your job is to bring the excitement and the energy. You are the only person that can do that. No one else can do that for your team, and no one else can do that for your business. That has got to come from you. Do I have days where I don't want to get up and be a shiny, sparkly leader? Of course I do, right? Like anybody, we're human, right? But no one will ever know about those days. You know, sometimes it might creep in somewhere. you know, on a social media post when I think it shouldn't have really creeped in there. I try not to let that anywhere. My excitement and energy is key, and I think this is key to leadership. You've got to be passionate about the products. You've got to be passionate about the company, and I know we don't always feel it all the time, but your team will thrive off the energy that you bring. And somebody said to me today, the reason that you're a good leader is because you don't wait for Sensi Home Office to bring the energy. You have your own energy. You're like a Duracell battery. And I was like, oh my God, like literally a light bulb went on. And it's so true. Like I wake up every day and I think, what can I do for my team today? What can I do for my business today? What can I do for my customers today? Like that's just like that's how my brain works. I am a self-confessed workaholic, and I know not everybody is like me. And I always put that out there. But that excitement and energy that you bring to the table is going to be how you build your culture, whether you've got a team of 2 or 3 or whether you've got a team of 20. You know, what you bring to that table, that excitement and that energy is going to come from you. I did a live a little while back. It was a couple of weeks ago, and I'd had a really bad couple of days. And one of my close friends, who's one of my directors, she rang me and she said, when I first started Sensi, she said it was around the time in lockdown when the Obsidians all sold out. Do you remember Obsidian Gate? Yeah. So Obsidians all sold out and things were a little bit crazy. She said, and I remember you going live and you were really like angry. She was like, I remember like thinking, God, I don't know if I want her job. Like she like clearly like that life's a struggle. And she said to me the other week, you went live last week. Like, are you okay? Because it was like that Lisa that came out again. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, it was like I had forgotten because of my bad day. I took that into my team group and my team fed off that energy. She fed off that energy and she's one of my like rock star directors. So I was like, do you know what? That is never going to happen again. That is, and I'm not saying you've got to fake it till you make it, but when I'm having that bad day, I would rather not go live in my team group, or I would, you know, rather not speak to all my leaders. If I'm having a bad day, I need to take that time off. And that I've realized, because the excitement and the energy that you have for your products, for your business, for your customer group, it is like key. And that's something I've really realized. It's so important. Yeah, you got to be the energy, and exactly that, Whitney. It spreads, whether it's negative or positive. People feed off that, don't they? And I honestly think that has been one of the things that's helped my team become such a positive bubble. Like we are a group where people will say, oh, there's complaining. Like I see posts sometimes where people say, oh, people are upset with Insensi, and I'm like, don't really get that in my team. We are really blessed that we've got a really positive culture, but that drives from you. That's got to come from you. I don't let negative into our team group. We don't like talk badly about product, like anything. Obviously there's honesty and there's vulnerability, because I think vulnerability is important, but there's never negativity. And that excitement and energy is so important for you guys as leaders. Honestly, it's so important for you guys. Okay, the L. L comes from a really fab one that I love, and it's all about leading from the front. I see a lot of leaders that talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And I talk about this quite a lot with my directors. Like, you have got to be the one showing your team how to do things. I would never, ever, ever train on anything that I've never done in my own business. And this is why I find as an SSD, it's so important to be doing the basics and to be doing the ground stuff. So I still make samples. I still make sample packs. I still do borrow bags. I still book parties. I do all of those basics. That are those things that we just need to keep doing over and over again, not the fluff, not any of the challenges, all of the basics. I do those over and over again, exactly that, like you're an essential consultant. That's how I see myself. It's just a title at the end of the day that goes with superstar director, right? And I will only train on those things. So I will only show my team, you know, I find when I'm not working my business properly, like I work my business every day, but when I'm not in it, like really in it, I then find it hard to share with my team ideas. I don't have any inspiration for my team because I'm like looking around, you know, I'm thinking, scratching the surface. So when I know that I'm in it and I'm sampling, giving out samples, following up, having the conversations I've got content to share with my team. And that's what this business is. It literally is as simple as that. That's how you lead from the front. It's not always necessarily about leading from the front is always the person that's getting all the incentives or the highest paid or the person that's recruiting the most people. None of those things. It's about, are you working your business? Are you doing those basics? Are you actioning? Are you taking action? Are you watching training and then taking action from that training? You know, and then are you sharing that with your team? Because that's the teacher and that's the leader and that's the leading from the front. You do those things, you train on it. Never ask your team to do something that you don't do, honestly. Action was my word of the year last year. I've actually got it in like rose gold wire. One of my friends had it made for me last year. So yeah, that is one of my big things. And like leading from the front, little things that I do that like I share with my team. So not last month, it was the month before, we did a sponsoring focus, and this was an idea that come from another superstar director, Tam Richards, and it was brilliant. We had like a central group, everybody was in the central group, but I was the one that was leading from the front, giving all the ideas. So I was sharing, like today I would like you to ask 3 people to join your team. The next day it was to create an attraction marketing post, but myth busting, a myth, like, but I did everything with my team. So all of those tasks that they got set, I did with them. And then I would be in the groups asking them, like, how are you getting on? Like, this is what I found. This is what happened within like my customer group. So important that you are doing the actions with your team. Okay. So that's your L. Now, next we're going to I. One of my favorites, to inspire, but not motivate. Like, there is no such thing as doing the motivating as a leader. And I'm hearing it a lot at the minute. People saying, I can't motivate my team. And I say to them, why would you want to? Like, you don't want to motivate your team. You need to be inspiring them. And there's a difference between inspiration and motivation. Motivation will come after the inspiration when they've put the action into place. Those 3 words, inspiration, action, motivation. That's your process of how motivation comes. And motivation will always come at the end of action. Literally, it's as simple as that. So for your team to be motivated, you need to be the person that's doing the inspiring. So for me, if I'm not feeling very inspired, I usually go and watch some sort of YouTube training or I listen to a podcast. I do like to read. I've actually just bought, I don't know if I bought it down here. I've actually just bought the Disney Magic Leadership book, which I've just bought, which is funnily enough, that's around the Disney Institute training that we actually went there last year. Was it last year, I think? And that's what I'm about to read. But I'm really big on like things that I can put in my ears, do my housework at the same time as, you know, listening to a training, and then I will go away and action it when I've finished the listening. And that's what we need to do as leaders. We need to be able to inspire our teams, and that is going to come from you working your business and then you sharing what you're doing with your team. And people say to me, but how do you inspire? And I'm like, it literally is that simple. You need to show people what works and what doesn't work. That's all they need to know. Like, there's no more to it. And I have overcomplicated my leadership business for years, or not years, but months. I tried to do things that I was following other leaders, thinking, oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do this. I need to do that. I have tried all those things. And I have come to realize in my 5 years of being with Sensi, which isn't very long, but in the 5 years that I've been with Sensi, I have realized that actually the inspiration just comes from me working my business and then sharing with my team. This worked for me. This is how much PRV I got off of the back of these treat bags, or this post that I did, or, you know, I'm just trying to think of other things that I've done. Literally how I'm working, exactly that. And then my team would then see, oh my God, that's how she's working. That she got that amount of PRV from it. Right, I'm going to go and give that a go. And that's all there is to it. And you need to not forget that as a leader. And I think that is so important. So you can't motivate people. The motivation will come when you inspire someone. So instead of saying, why don't you try to do X? Say to them very simply, I have just done this. I got 60 PRV off of the back of trying this post. Why don't you give it a go? When they see what you've done, that is the inspiration. And honestly, that's key. And I think that's the secret. That is the secret, honestly. That's it in a nutshell. Inspiration actually is to feel someone with the urge or ability to do something, or feel something, especially to do something creative. So if they see you doing it, you're going to give them that urge. It's a bit like when I listen to training, I then get that urge. I'm like, oh my God, I need to go and work. Or halfway through that training, I stop, I go and run that report and have a look at what that person was saying. And I'm like, yes, like that is inspiration, because then it makes you stop in your tracks and you want to go and put something into action. Okay, my next one is an E. And this is so important right now. Like, one of the most important points right now that I can give you in the world of Scentsy, and it's to be able to evolve. Our business is forever evolving. It has changed so much since I first started selling Scentsy to now, and that's only in 5 short years. And there have been people that have been doing this a lot longer, that have seen this business go through cycles and ebbs and flows, and we have got to be able to do the evolving. I reflect on my business all the time. So, for example, my reflection this week was, I have only sponsored one person this month. She's active. We've done the onboarding. She's doing great. It's time to sponsor somebody else. My PRV is looking amazing. Happy with that. We have had school holidays. Our kids have literally just come back to school. So I am giving myself a little bit of grace. And I need to look at what my business needs. And right now, I need another teammate. I need to recruit my 2. That is my goal. So I tend to, that's one of my first things, like reflection and evolving based on what your business needs right now in the now. And then you've got the bigger picture of the evolve. For example, like, I don't know, for example, more of my customers are using Instagram. So therefore, evolving is to learn something new and try something new. My business at the very beginning was built heavily on parties, and I literally party. That is how I built quickly. That is how I built my team quickly. And we then had to evolve really quickly during lockdown, where I didn't party hardly at all. I did try online parties. They didn't really work for me. Borrow bags and actual face-to-face parties are my jam, probably as you've realized, because I don't take a breath and I like to talk, and I love to interact with people, and I love to talk about the product. But again, we had to evolve to make that work. And as we're now coming out of lockdown and this is our new normal, it's about evolving again. And my business has changed so much that, do I have time to do home parties right now? I do. I'd love to do home parties. Are my customers biting on them? Not at all. So I evolved. I actually, Whitney, this is a little shout out to you, found your online party that Whitney did, her mock online party that she shared with Scentsy. And I went away and I adapted it, and I made one that was region 2 specific. And I started delivering those last month. And they've been really successful. One of them was a great party. One was not so great. The other one was a complete flop, the 3 that I had last month. But here's the but. I shared all of that with my team. This month, I've had one of my lead consultants come to me and she said, I can't believe it. I did one of those Scent event programs that you said about. I've smashed 2 active orders, and she's well on her way to star consultant. She will promote a star consultant, I am certain, by the end of this month. And you know, it's literally that simple. Get inspired by people. That inspired me. Whitney inspired me. She didn't even know that she inspired me. I don't think I've even told you that. And I went away and put the work in, and then I shared it with my team, and my team had started doing that. And that's where your promotions come from. That's where your leadership comes from. When I did that at the very beginning, I was showing people how I partied. I was like, this is how I partied. This was my setup. This was my, this is what I said. I would go live and share how I booked a party. It's now just changing it slightly, changing the script a little bit. But you've got to be able to evolve as a leader. You've got to be able to evolve quickly when something sells out. For example, this is like my biggest bugbear, is when things sell out and people complain. And this is like a truth bomb. I'm really sorry if this offends anybody. But my thing is, okay, that's sold out. What's the solution? How can I'm a solution giver. I'm not a complainer. And when people complain, it literally makes my blood boil a little bit. I'm not going to lie. And there's not much that makes me like that. But I'm all about a solution. And that's a skill that I've learned, you know, Obsidian Gate, literally. I learned to, when all them obsidians sold out, we couldn't get an obsidian in our region for love or money. And I remember, I think in lockdown at one point we had only 22 wax bars available. You have to be able to come up with solutions. And what I've noticed is, because I lead like that, I am starting to have team members that are like, oh, I've seen that Monday deal. So we've got Monday deals right now. I know you guys haven't. We've got weekly Monday deals. And they're like, I've seen that sold out, but have you seen in the clearance, there's XYZ. If we put that together, we can create this bundle. Let's deliver that to the team. And that's what I've noticed, is because I work like that, because I operate like that, it starts to trickle down into your team. What you lead, you breed. That's a saying of mine. I'm massively all about, like, how you lead your team is what you're going to breed. They're the type of leaders that you're going to breed. And ideally, you want independent leaders that are going to breed independent leaders, because the more independence that you can get growing in your organization, then your business can run itself. That's when beach money happens, right? I love that book, by the way. It's absolute gold. If you've not read it, put it on your list. So we've got to be able to evolve from your business perspective. What does your business need right now? But also, how can you involve your team to give your team like really like good points? And on that note, like evolving, personal development has got to come in there. Like, I'm massive on personal development. I had never picked up a book. I have read. I loved reading as a teacher, but never personal development. If someone had said to me, like, go and read something like The Secret, or I would have been like, no, like, not my bag, not my show. But my sponsor is Laura Sawkins, who was 2 years ago. She was Shining Star, and if you don't know Laura, go watch some of her YouTube. She is so inspiring, and personal development is literally her jam. She reads all the time. She podcasts all the time. She sends me stuff, and she got me into personal development. And that has evolved me, not only as a leader, but as a consultant and as a human being. I honestly do think that, like, you know, personal development has been massive for me, like massive. Okay, I'm nearly getting to the end. We're at V. Okay, V stands for vision and values. Okay, vision and values. And this is, I didn't actually write many notes next to this, but I put 2 V's because at first I was like, what is fit? What is V? Where does that fit? Vision is like, how do you see your business growing? Like, how do you see your community? How do you vision your leadership community, the people that you have got within your team? Like, what do you want that to look like? And I think that's going to come from like all of these different things, inspiring, evolving, and getting the balance. That's where your vision comes in. Like, I vision our team group to be a really positive place. I want it to be like a sharing community. So my big team group, like my encouragement all the time, I do a lot of work behind the scenes. And I think this is really important, especially for like directors and above. I have had people comment and say before, well, it's easy for you. You've got like a team group where people share. And it never was like that always. But that has come from me, not just me and my leaders working behind the scenes and saying to people, that idea is amazing. Go and share that in our team group, and giving people the confidence to share. And that's what my vision is. My vision is about giving people confidence to share, giving people confidence that they can share and not be judged in a group, because, you know, some ideas might not quite hit the mark, but that doesn't bother me. I would rather see 20 people sharing in my group and me sitting there and having a really big job to have to go and approve them all, because I do have post approval one, but to go and approve them all because they're all confident enough to share. And I've really noticed a dip in that lately. So when I see that dip, I make a mental note to be like, right, I need to go and speak to some of my lead consultants, some of my star consultants, and I need to ask them, like, what are you doing in your business right now? Quite often I will go onto my reports and look at who's done really good PRV, and I will inbox them and say, the PRV is incredible. Can you go and share a tip? Go and share something that you've done to get your PRV. And a lot of them say, oh, but I'm just going to regurgitate stuff that you've done. And I say, oh, I don't care. Because if they can see it's not just working for me, you're going to inspire more people. They think it's easy for me because I'm a superstar director. They need to hear from you. You're a lead consultant. You are going to inspire more people than me. And that I also bring into our team meetings. So we have a team meeting once a month, which didn't happen this month. I just did it live, but that was because the kids were on school holiday and I just had to adapt slightly. And I normally try to ask somebody that's not a director and above to come and chat for 10 minutes and just show us what they're doing. And that is so inspiring for people. They want to see lead consultants, star consultants. So if you're watching this and you're a lead consultant or a star consultant, go and share how you're working in your business right now. Go and share something that you put in your customer group. It might be a screenshot of something you put in your customer group, or maybe it was a message that you sent to a customer that resulted in a big order, or a way that you followed up that you've never followed up before, or maybe you've asked somebody how to join and it's just a screenshot saying, I asked somebody to join today and this was, they said no, but this is this is how I worded it. That verbiage and that screenshot or that image of something that you've done could literally inspire so many people and you just don't realize it. I've just seen one of my downliners on here, Sarah, and I shared this link with my team. So Sarah's on here. Sarah shares all the time. She goes live and I don't even ask her to. And she'll be like, right, I'm going live. Another fellow teacher, I will just add. And she'll be like, I'm going live and I'm just going to talk about, and there we go. And I love that. So be brave to go, to hit share and share something. Or yeah, exactly that, Jenny. Go and ask. I'm not in all of my downlines customer groups. I was when I first started, and then I realized that my Facebook was full of just my team's customer groups, so I had to leave them for my own sanity. But I also I use my reports. Like the numbers don't lie, right? And I always say that I'm a big believer in this. If somebody's got really good PRV, go and ask them and say, right, tell me 5 things that you've done that has got 1,000 PRV by the 5th of the month. And please go and screenshot them in the group. We need to see what you're doing. Everyone needs to be inspired by you. You are the vision right now. And then values. Like, what are your values? That's going to be what's going to create your team culture, right? What are your values? Mine are like things like honesty and building confidence, the fact that everybody matters, making people feel good and making people feel special. I don't care whether someone's put 1 PRV in or 90,000 PRV. I want everybody that's in that group that's working their business or trying to work their business to feel like they matter. People are not just a number to me. And I think that's really, really important. And I think you learn that as you go through different promotions and different titles. And I see a lot of leaders that, only reach out to their team when they need to get paid at title, or are only reaching out to their team on the last day of the month, or, and that for me is not how I work. And I am all about trying to make as many people as possible feel special. And I try to pride myself on that. And if I've had bad feedback before where someone said to me, I don't feel like you gave me enough support, and I tell you, I took it really, really, really personally. But I also then decided I need to evolve. Someone's given me feedback. They've been really honest with me. How can I evolve and make sure that doesn't happen again? Because that's what a good leader does. Not go and write about it all over Facebook. Not go and, let other people know, oh, that person said this. I know sometimes we need to vent off. We all have a safe place at the end of the day. But that is a part of my values. I want everybody to feel that, and respect is a really big thing. Like, I want people to respect me, but for that to happen, I've got to also respect them and have boundaries. Like, boundaries are so important. I'm not somebody that has business hours. Like, honestly, I don't. Yes, Mindy, constructive criticism. Do you want to know what I call it? I don't know if can I swear? I call it, I'm going to anyway. I call it a shit sandwich. So I say to people like, Sarah, no, I call it a shit sandwich. So basically, when I'm giving somebody constructive feedback, and this is something I learned with teaching, you give a positive, a negative in the middle, and then a positive. And that's where respect grows. And I call it, that's my word. It's my thing, And sometimes some of my leaders go to me, you're shit sandwiching me right now. And I go, I know, I'm really sorry. I'm like, but I'm making you feel good, right? About something that's a little bit negative. And they go to me, yes, you are. Because, we've all got to deliver negative news sometimes. So, okay. The E, that'd be what you're going to remember my training for. Lisa, the one that talks about shit sandwich. Sorry. Okay. Then the next E is to educate your team. Be the educator. Be the teacher. You don't need to know everything. I certainly don't know everything. There are days when I might need to reach out to compliance to ask a question. That's what they're there for. To ask my peers. I've got some great SSD friends, and I will ask a question and say, I don't know the answer to this. I always try to go and find out an answer first for myself, because that's a little bit like the teacher in me, if you like. But you become the educator. So as a leader, as soon as you've got one team under you, if they want to learn, your job is to help them learn and to help them find ways to learn, but to not overwhelm. Like, it's so easy to, like, probably right now, I'm probably giving you a lot of information very, very quickly. It might be a little bit overwhelming. Just take what you need from it. But educating your team is so important. To be that educator, and whether it's educating on compliance or educating on how to not sponsor somebody. So yesterday I went live and I said to my team, I'm going to educate you all on how not to sponsor somebody. I said, I've had a cold message in my inbox today. I said, I knew what was coming. She liked 2 of my stories straight in my inbox. Have you heard of this new company, which is like a new company that's launching in the UK? You guys might actually have heard of it. It's like a skincare company. And she was like, oh, have you heard of this company? And I said, oh no, I've heard, I know the company. I said, I've heard it's launching, but I know nothing about it. Thinking she was going to sell me some products, right? And then she went straight in for the kill. Oh, we've got an opportunity call tonight. I think you'd be absolutely amazing at it. I adore your profile. Why don't you come and listen in on the call? And I said, I actually went back to her and said, have you looked at my profile? And do you know what I do? And she said, I adore your profile. I think you maybe sell FM, or you've got your own business. And I was like, do you know what? That is how not to sell. And I went live in my team and I said, this has happened to me today. Do not be this person. Like, be a relationship builder. That's what our core values are, right? Be authentic and, generous and all of those things. Do not be Spamela Pamela in someone's inbox, cold messaging them like that. Now, I know for some people it works. Fraser Brooks, for example, an incredible network marketer, and he literally has got a whole business that's built on cold messaging, right? For me, I don't like it. I said to my team, imagine when someone rings you and tries to sell you something over the phone, or tries to say, oh, we want to change your phone network company, or I'm trying to think of like other things. I get, have you had an accident because we believe we've got some insurance claim for you? I get cold messages like that all the time. And those messages really like get my back up, right? So, and I said to my team, I said, please don't do this. Like, we build relationships. But then I showed them, I said, these are my top tips for how, if you want to sponsor somebody on Instagram that you don't necessarily know, here's how you would build a relationship with them. And that is education. Education from your experiences as a consultant is key. Like, that is key. So there's your belief. Balance, excitement and energy, leading from the front, being inspirational, not motivational, evolving and pivoting, having a vision and some values, and then being able to educate your team. I hope you like it. I have got just a few other tips of a few things that I do, and then feel free to like ask any questions. Feel free. So just a few of the things. Hopefully you have got my number one tip as a leader, whether you've got one team or 5,000, is just share what you do. It really, really is that simple. Share what you do. There is, and when I got lost in my way, somebody actually said that to me. They said, well, what did you do when you very first joined Sensi? And when I actually think about like when I'm building leaders and trying to work with new team members, I go back to when I very first joined, and I had a group chat set up where I added people into the group chat. We cheerleaded each other on. I shared news tab updates or news or product announcements. There weren't as many back then. And when I see somebody was doing well, I inbox them. And I basically sort of said to them, like, have you thought about sponsoring a team meet? And that's literally how it is, that simple. Honestly, that simple. B, Jenny, was balance. Balance. Sorry, I probably said it a little bit quickly as well. So that's my biggest tip is share everything. Number two, on top of all the believe, is to have some form of communication system with your team. So if you don't have a communication system, find some way of being able to communicate regularly with your team. I email recognition and I do send out like postal recognition, but we have an app in the UK called WhatsApp. I think it's similar to your Hit 'em Up. It's totally free. And by the way, if you have never tried WhatsApp, it's like international. So if you've got UK team members, team is in like Germany or trying to think of Canada, for example, WhatsApp can be used everywhere. I totally recommend it. I have a broadcast set up and I have different ones. So I've got a broadcast for all my directors, a broadcast for all my lead consultants and above. I have a broadcast for my whole frontline, and then a few strugglers that where maybe their director just doesn't give them as much support. And I put them all on a WhatsApp broadcast list, and I send out things like your workstation's updated. Please go and look at your news tab. It literally is as simple as that. I will send them updates of like, I've just done these. What have I done this week? These VIP boxes. Oh no, actually, I shared a picture of. This was this month of Dexter with the Woof box. Here is my dog, by the way. You're very welcome to use him. I sent a picture of Dexter out to my team, said feel free to use him to model the Woof box, for example, until it's sold out. And it's little things like that I put on. Like, this is how I've just got 50 PRV. Quick things. Sometimes I send out like a, I try to make the messages sound like they're going to one person, because the broadcast isn't like a group message. It's just one-to-one. And I will send things like an inspirational quote that I find on Pinterest. And then I write a little message that sounds like it's going directly to them. Something like, hi, lovely. I hope you're well. I thought of you when I see this. This quote is just absolutely perfect for how things are right now. Have a fab Wednesday. And if you need me, you know where I am. And I literally send that out to all. Is that just to my frontline? So it's become like more like my team broadcast, because it was frontline. And as some of my directors have not working as much, some of their team that are really working and really want to progress gradually have come to me one by one, and I just gradually put them all onto my broadcast. I say, do you want me to add you? How often do I send out messages? So whenever the workstation updates, I always send them on there. And then whenever I'm feeling it, really, sometimes it'll be like in the morning, a couple of times a week, I try to keep in contact with my team. And there might be sometimes people just completely ghost and they never reply back. I'm okay with that. I always say to people, you don't need to reply back to these messages, but know that I'm here. And it's just a really great way where I can touch base with everybody in one hit. And sometimes I just send a message like, hi, how are you? How are you doing today? And I must admit, I think there's 200 odd people on that list. And sometimes I think when I send that message, you just have to be prepared and sit in and ready to reply. Like, that would be my top tip for it, because sometimes I send that message and then I'm like out and I'm like, oh no, my phone's literally blowing up and I haven't got time to reply to them all. But you can also voice note. I do love a voice note. So, as you probably guessed. Okay, number 3, identify who to work with. I'm really big on looking at, WhatsApp's completely free. It's brilliant. WhatsApp Business, by the way, also free. Incredible for us as network marketers. Like, you can label people, like just ordered. I'll send you some screenshots, Whitney, and you're welcome to share it. Like, you can literally label your customers. You can label team members. Like, I've got some that are like, I've got a label that say just sponsored, or they're working with a new teammate. I've like literally labeled people. It's brilliant, because then it reminds you, so you can go back and speak when you're scrolling through. You can be like, oh my god, I need to message that person. Because I work my business like massively on how I feel, not like, I'm not massively system driven. And I know that's like a leader admitting that. It probably sounds a bit, but that's how my life is. Life's busy. So okay, so I identify who to work with. I absolutely love how your Katie Laster works with her leaders. Like, honestly, all her trainings on how she finds her leaders, how she works with them. If you haven't watched them, That's how I do it. Like literally go and look, because she's flipping amazing. So if you haven't watched her training, go and watch. But literally look at your reports, look for that high PRV, look for people that, for me, it's not always about the PRV and the sponsoring. I also love to work with the people that want it. The people that come to me and say, can you help me? I want to promote, or can you help me? I want to build my PRV. Those are people that I always think I would love 50,000 of those, because they want to work. They're not always going to be the most successful. That for me, we can either teach, we can learn together, we can do challenges. I just want to work with people that want to work with me. And it literally is, the visionaries. And it is simple as that. I don't ever turn anybody down. If someone says to me, can we work together? Like, I'd love to work a bit close with you. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's work. Okay. Number 4, know your compensation plan. So and that is a real key thing as a leader, is to know your compensation plan. When you know the compensation plan, it makes it easy to help your team to promote. It makes it easy to know what you need to promote. And when you know the compensation plan, for me, it just, all the other things just literally fall into place. I've got 2 more and then I'm done, I promise. Number 5, show up every single day in your team group and in your customer group. No matter what, whether you've got a customer group or whether you do it on Instagram, however you do it, show up every day. Be consistent. That word gets thrown around a lot. And I would always say that I'm not consistent at anything in my life. Like, I'm really like poor when it comes to like making habits, especially when it comes to food, exercise. I literally like do things. Sorry, number 4 was to know the compensation plan. I didn't go into too much detail there, but know your compensation plan. Go and learn it, like inside out. Show up every single day. Consistency is going to be your baby. And that is one thing that for 5 years, I have shown up in my customer group every single day for 5 years, even if it has been for 1 day. And that included right at the very beginning of my business, when I decided I wanted to sell Scentsy. My dad passed away 4 days into my Scentsy business. And I could have thrown the towel in and said, I'm not going to do this. But I didn't. I did the opposite. I dug deep and I was like, I'm not going to be somebody that gets dictated by what's going on in my personal circumstances. I want to earn money. I want to make this work, and I want to see where this goes. And my dad was a salesman, and I know he would have been super proud of me. So show up every single day. I don't ever make an excuse as to why I'm not there. Even on my worst days, I don't go live. I've now learned that. But I still show up. I'm still there answering questions. I will post every day, once a day, at least in my team group. That just, if I don't show up, sometimes my team will message me and be like, are you okay? You're not here. Like, where are you? They know, right? They know. And then my last one comes to me it's actually just gone out of my head. The power of being consistent. Yeah. I hadn't written number 6 down, and then I thought of it. I was like, there's something else I wanted to say that I did, but my brain it'll come to me. I'm sure it'll come to me. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've got for you. I really hope there is some value there. Like, I'm all about value. And this is completely fresh as well. Like, I haven't a lot of this is stuff that's new, that not new that I do, it's all stuff that I do, but coming up with it as a believe acronym. I think you need something to remember by, right? And be like, right, okay, how do I take that forward into my business? And my biggest tip as well is, when you watch training like this, if you've watched training for 30 minutes, give 10 minutes to actually put into action something. Like, I know I've given you a lot there, right? And there was a lot of points and a lot of ideas. Just think of one thing, take one thing from what we've gone through and be like, there's something there that I didn't do, or maybe something I need to improve on. And just start with one thing and work on that. Literally, just take the one. It might be that you're like, okay, I need to share a little bit more with my team, what I'm doing. And make that your sole mission for like the next 30 days. Be like, I am going to share every day for 30 days and see what impact it has. you know, if maybe you're listening to this and you're thinking, maybe actually it's got to come back to me. I can't share because I'm not doing the actions. Then maybe your 30 days is going to be, I need to take action for the next 30 days. And I need to do samples, do sample packs, book parties, book the borrow bags. Because once you've done those things, the rest is easy. It literally is, you've got to lead to be able to breed what you want to see. Yeah. Lead what you breed. Yeah. I always say it. One of my directors always says to me, it's so true. Like, you know, whatever you put out into the world, whatever arrows you put out, it will come back to you. Has anyone got any questions or welcome to ask or anything else?
Yeah, if y'all have any questions, unmute or put it in the chat. I did have a question. I gotta find it in my notes where I put it.
And I talk a lot as well, so I do apologize.
Well, no, I have 4 pages of notes. So like everything was so good. It was so good. And I personally haven't been poured into as a leader in a while. So I literally can't thank you enough. But I did have a question about the WhatsApp again. So you send the messages one-on-one. How is that different from what you share on your Facebook group page?
So on my actual team page, do you mean?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So my team page, my setup is I have one big group. I know everyone does it a bit differently. So we have one big group, which is the Scent Squad, and all of my directors are in there. All of their teams are in there. Everyone's in there. It's like one big party in there, right? That's where I'm all about my culture. I want that place to be like, so at the moment we are doing Active in April. They have got a different idea every day for something that we're trying to bring everybody back to the catalogue massively. Like that was my focus for this month and last month, because we've had so many sales, right? And we've got these weekly Monday deals and clearance updating. And I said to my team, like, and this is in all honesty, I literally went live and said this. This is when my team member said to me that I looked like I had really bad resting bitch face and I was angry. But it was all about, because I said, we have got to see all of the specials and all of the sales as like the sale row when you go into a shop, right? And everything else is your, that's your shop, is the catalogue, and all the sales stuff and all the clearance and all the extras. They're the cherry on top. Like, we can't run our business just based on those, because they're not going to be there forever. And so in my actual group is like, I suppose I share there's a daily idea. Sometimes it might just be, I share some of them in the What Do You Share group, like ideas for like how you can network, or maybe it's just an inspirational quote, or maybe I get inspired by somebody and write a post that's like got loads of spelling mistakes and loads of typos. I am that person. And that goes into my team group. The WhatsApp is more, I suppose I use it as letting people know things have updated or there's like changes. It's like that instant. If I need people to be able to have that instant message of like something sold out. Like we're that lead, like I am that leader that will be like, that fragrance flower has just sold out, guys. You know, exactly. Yeah, time sensitive stuff, but also a way to just make sure I'm touching base, because I think as your frontline grows, right, it's really hard to make sure that everybody has your time. And I'm really conscious on that. I know we can't work with everybody. When your frontline's over 100 people, I know I can't work with all of those people physically. There's not enough time in the day. But I want them still to know that if they want to contact me, I'm here. I'm only at the end of the phone. They can message me back. So that's kind of how I use the WhatsApp messages, really. I don't really have. I have WhatsApp groups for like smaller groups of leaders. But the actual broadcast for everybody is like to get those messages out. My thought process was this: if I have all my frontline on there, and then all of my directors also have all of their frontlines on theirs, and all of their team have their frontlines on theirs, and so on, it becomes a bit like a family tree. You know, like, I don't even know if that's even a thing anymore, but you know, like when, I don't know if this is in a film. Isn't anything from the UK. I don't know whether I've seen this in a film. Was it Desperate Housewives? And they used to have like someone picked up on the phone and she would ring, and then the next person rings the next person and the next person, and so forth. And then the message will get out to more people. And like a phone tree. That's it, Sylvia. Is that a thing? Is that a real thing? I don't even know if it is. But that was my thought process, was I want as many people as possible to be able to get that message. And I was getting really worried that as my team grew deeper and deeper and deeper, and the more directors I was growing, not that I want to be able to control what everybody's doing, because that isn't my type of leadership at all. But I then felt like I was really delivering, like if I've sent that out and if all someone's got to do is forward that on to their team, I'm making a very simple system that is very duplicatable, and hopefully lots of people then are getting the message. So that's the idea behind it. Whether it still works like that, I don't know, because I think times have changed a lot, and not all of my directors probably are working to that level, but hopefully, yeah, it's that whole thing of like being able to get messages right the way down your downline. And especially when you've got leaders maybe that are like 6 or 7 levels deep that you miss, because I think as your team grows bigger and bigger, it's harder to miss those people. Like I've got leaders, like directors that have left, and some of their leaders are now like emerging, and I hadn't even like pinpointed those. And some of that is to do with the work that I'm doing, but also some of that is to do with where the group are growing so big. So that's something I'm really conscious. I want everybody to feel, I don't ever want someone to come to me and say, I've never had that message. I didn't know how to do that. I've never been shown how to do it, because we're independent, but I've never had that contact with you as a superstar director. And I did have that once. Someone was really rude to me and said, I don't even know who you are. How dare you message me? And I was like, I send out messages all the time. And that kind of, it stuck with me a little bit. I evolved from that, right? You evolve from it. So that's how I use it.
Yeah, I love that. So I don't see any other questions, but I do have one to end this with. We are, at least in the US, in a spot in our business where things are a lot different than they have been in the past. We talked about the up and down. So if you had to give, and you've given a lot of advice today, but specifically to someone who maybe feels like they're in the in-between in their business, as far as, is this for me? Is this not? I'm feeling lost. This is not what I thought it was going to be. Having maybe those mixed feelings of how they feel about leadership and their business, what would be the one thing that you tell them to do?
I had this recently, actually. My first thing would be to almost not put your kit down. Don't give up. That's the main thing. But go back to why you love your business. What made you fall in love with it from the very start? Was it the fact that it was a wax? Was it that, I don't know. I said to one of my leaders, go and change your wax. When was the last time you changed all your wax? And she was like, oh, it's been a few days. I said, go and I want you to immerse yourself in the products. Immerse yourself in the products first. Remind yourself why you love the products. And then I always say to any leaders that feel like that, give yourself 6 months. Like, this is my honest opinion. Will you give your business 6 months of actual, I am going to go away, or even 6 weeks, if that's what it takes, real graft, like where you go and give it your absolute all every single day for 6 weeks. And we will work on it together. I will give you some challenges, and let's see. And if at the end of that 6 weeks or 6 months, you are still saying to me, I don't know if this is for me anymore, then we can have a serious chat about it. That's normally the advice I would give to somebody. Like, don't throw it all in right now, because things are changing and they will change again soon. And people, my other thing to people is like, people are leaving a lot at the minute, right? And that means that there's more customers that are like going to need consultants more than ever. And they will start buying again. It will happen again. We've just got to start working differently. It's that evolving, right?
Yes, I love that. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.